Good morning. Welcome to morning practice this morning on Tuesday, the 16th of January. I'm Olivia. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, here we are on another Tuesday morning. I'm noticing that it's getting just a little bit longer in light during the day. Like I left the house yesterday at a certain time and it was lighter than it has been at that time for some time. So feeling just slightly incremental increase in light. Very, very small, but very, very welcome as we go into this new year of lengthening days. Hope everybody is doing well. I spent a lot of our initial talk part, our initial discussion part of yesterday, reiterating the sort of purpose and intention of this offering, and subsequently, did reflect on it much during the day yesterday after practice, and just again thinking about how every small decision that we take is a part of this commitment to these larger decisions and intentions. And even when they may not reflect that, it's really brought into our awareness. And you might think, I'm going to make this small decision that is completely non-related. But then the next day, you might see how that decision had an effect in either supporting or undermining your greater intention and dedication and offering. So even though there are sort of demonstrable larger actions in how we go about demonstrating our commitment to our intentions, our offerings, our practice. It's all the smaller decisions we take during the day, maybe with less awareness and less thought, that also support or undermine those intentions that are important and deserve our awareness just as much, even when they seem unrelated. I think when you reflect on it all, it's all related. And so my point in bringing this up is, I think for myself, a growing area of my focus and attention in my practice, both here in the moment of morning practice, but also throughout my day, because it's all really part of the intention of offering and the intention of becoming more aware and becoming more present in all my interactions and more accountable in all my interactions does mean there needs to be greater awareness in every decision that I take, even when I think it's a decision that doesn't really have anything to do with my interconnectedness. It actually does. And I think that is something that Olivia is learning. You may be in a different relationship to your decision making, but I think it's really been brought into my awareness in the last 24 hours how every little decision we take is important to the whole. And when we check out in one decision, we're not checking out as a whole, but we are bringing that lack of thought to the general energy, which in turn has an effect on the larger and more apparent intentions and more spoken offerings. So I invite you and myself, especially, as we go through our day today after practice, to really notice when you're taking smaller decisions, you know, and then you think just about the longer term effect that those decisions will have on the things you want to offer or devote to. Is it really a positive support, or am I undermining my ability to show up for myself, for others? Am I undermining my intention of heart, even unknowingly, perhaps? I think you know, this practice, as I was saying yesterday, is it's much more than movement and waking up in the morning. It's really about cultivating awareness, cultivating a relationship with oneself of self-compassion and self-love, yes. Being a friend to myself. And being a friend to myself, really, in part, is also just about noticing when I take decisions that maybe I'm less present in or less aware of how they're going to affect the whole trajectory of what I want to do, that I can point that out to myself in a loving way, in a kind way, not beating myself up, not saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Didn't I realize?" But more like, "Yeah, that didn't really work. That didn't really support who I want to be, what I want to be." And I'm saying this more for myself than for my share co-practitioners. Thank you, whoever you are out there, my wonderful family of practitioners. Anyway, so yeah, just when we think about what we're devoted to, not attached to the results, and yet, what does devotion mean? Real commitment to being present in every decision, so that with every decision I take, there's awareness of how it will affect the greater whole, how it will affect the relationship I have with myself. And to really, I think when my feet hit the ground coming out of bed, it's always a thought of, I'm gonna take the best decisions that I can for myself today. And therefore for everyone else too. So when I take the best decisions for myself, it is also a support to my wider community and the course of the day in general. So let's come into a meditation, just finding a moment or a bit longer than a moment in silence. You may want to sit up on some kind of support or just find a comfortable seat in a chair. And we'll just find a nice straight spine here. And breathe and notice without judgment. Notice without inflection. And as you observe and notice the interior state, maybe the distractions, the fluctuations of the mind, stepping away from engaging that, and finding stillness for yourself here. And if you feel called to connect to your heart center, maybe bringing one hand to the heart center, the other hand over top. And just again, feeling the warmth and support of your palms, holding your heart center, and almost as if your heart center is falling into the support and strength of your palms and hands. And they hold each other up. Feeling the warmth of the hands, connecting to the energy of the heart. Noticing any ambient sounds, noises in your environment as the day slowly awakens around us. Just observing, noticing the body. Just observe. Thoughts will come in, thoughts will go out. It's all a bit like a T.S. Eliot poem. They come and go. You are always present amid the theater of your mind. I'll just continue to sit in silence. And I invite you to take an inward journey, connecting to your inner light in your heart. Cultivating your awareness of your heart energy and your heart light. And we'll deepen the breath, feeling the breath circulate. Draw the breath in through the heart into the belly. Feel the breath go down to the base of the feet. Feel the breath extend into the palms of the hands as it connects to the heart center. Do you feel your breath in the tips of your fingers, the tips of your ears? What came up for you during your meditation? What do you notice? And just notice there's no judgment to have about it. I'm having judgment for having judgment. It's a bit of a quantum thing. Oh dear. But it's okay because we all have judgment and that's normal and human, and just noticing even that you're having or I'm having some self-judgment because I'm having self-judgment is somewhat humorous. And that is a place to bring light and bring lightness. Breathing and letting the hands fall into the lap and blinking the eyes open. We'll get started here today. Let's do some Kapalabhati breathing, which is short, sharp exhales, and then inhale will happen automatically. You don't want to do this breathing if you are pregnant. You don't want to do this breathing if you have any kind of blood pressure issue. You don't want to do the breathing if you don't like it, if you don't feel comfortable doing it. But you're basically sitting up straight, doing a forced exhale over and over. And as you force that exhale out, you don't have to screw your face up, by the way. I just do that because it's natural. um, as you force that breath out, the diaphragm pulls up and in. So we'll take a round of Kapalabhati breathing and then a break and go in again. If you don't want to do the Kapalabhati breathing, I would say just breathe in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 4, but we'll inhale together to begin. And we are exhaling through our nose. If there's anything you might find, oh, I need a tissue or something, just go and take care of that. And you may want to speed it up or slow it down. It's up to you. And come back to normal breathing. It's completely normal and okay to fall off the Kapalabhati breathing. Just, oh, that's interesting. My body needed to take a yawn right after the Kapalabhati. Just allow your body to express what it needs. If you are practicing in the morning like me, that's just the body doing what it does. Do yawns even really mean tiredness? I wonder what the function of yawning really is. I have wondered about that. Yeah, anyway. And we'll take a second round of Kapalabhati breathing. Again, if it's uncomfortable, just breathe in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 4. Inhaling to begin. slowing it down. Exhale completely. Really wonderful breath technique for kind of clearing the fog of the mind and just bringing oneself into a greater degree of presence. So we'll get started on the mat shortly. And having 2 blocks can be useful with the practice. Having some blankets to support underneath the knees, or if we take some longer holds of poses that require us to be wrapped in blankets, they can be good. It's always good to have some blankets nearby with yoga, just to feel supported, even if we don't use them. And I'm going to meet us over on the mat. This is a good time to take a sip of water if you would like some water. I have a busy mind today, and I noticed that, and just again trying really not to have too much judgment about that. And let's go over to the mat and breathe into some gratitude. Okay. All right. As we make our way to the mat, you may want to just stretch your legs out for a moment. They may be tired from sitting in still, and maybe just wave your feet a little bit. Oh, my hips are a little, I'm trying to think of the right descriptive word. What do hips become a little once they've been sitting for a while? Just, like when you sit still for a while, there's this imprint of that position in the body and the blood flow and all of that. And it's just the desire is to get that moving a little bit. But we'll just find a comfortable seat for a moment, and we'll breathe in some gratitude. So inhaling, arms overhead, hands come to prayer, and prayer comes to heart. Just giving a lot of love and gratitude for this body, because we put our bodies through a lot. What we do in a day, the vigorous exercise that we choose or we don't choose, what we eat, what we drink, the positions that we sleep in that may not necessarily serve our body. You wake up thinking, oh, what did I do? So thank you, body, for sustaining all of my crazy decisions, sometimes taken while I'm asleep, and that impact the whole vehicle. I just have a lot of love and gratitude for this vessel that continues to just be a profound instrument of consciousness and my receptor of sensory information as I move through the day. And also the very receptor of all of the decisions I take that have a physical impact. Thank you, body, for being forgiving for some of the crazy stuff I do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll inhale, our arms overhead, hands come to prayer, prayer comes to heart, and just offering love and gratitude for the incredible people around us, all people on this planet, be they different from us, whether they have different opinions, different ideas about life. We are all bringing our life force to this experience, and their life force is equally important and equally beautiful. And just, I have such love and gratitude for how we all move in the world. We are all these divine souls on spiritual paths of infinite complexity and also infinite simplicity. So I was really called yesterday to feel such enormous gratitude for the people that I have gathered around me in my life, who have known me, some for many, many years, some for just a few, some for one day. And just feeling the love and appreciation that we gain and that sustains us when someone you've only known for a day says something wonderful and supportive, or not even a day, I've known them for the last hour, and they say something really wonderful and supportive, completely out of the blue. Or when you find yourself amongst a group of people that you know well and love, and everyone's there having their own experience within an experience you're having, and just feeling truly, really feeling truly grateful for all of the people in my life, the people I don't know, the people I don't agree with, the people I don't see but contribute to my life, and also all of the incredible souls and people I am lucky and fortunate enough to know and converse with and dance with and do yoga with. And people are fantastic. I love them. Thank you, people. Thank you. And then arms overhead, hands come to prayer, prayer comes to the heart, and really finding an authentic expression of love and gratitude in yourself for this incredible planet, for this incredible experience of being on a planet that grows trees, that has waterfalls, that has these magical places, these mountains, these incredible vistas, the deserts, the oceans, lakes, just the incredible beauty of this earth. It's an extraordinary thing to be here and to take a moment here. And from my position, the expression of earth that I see most readily in my immediate field of vision here is a tree outside and as a little slight part of somebody's garden. And just, what a thing. These growing beings, this growing sentience around us at all times. And I invite you as you go through your day today to notice where this growing sentience makes its way through the architecture of humanity, whether that's coming up in the crack of a pavement, or if you're lucky enough to be in the countryside in nature, in a forest or near fields, just letting your eyes, letting your spirit settle and offering gratitude for that expression of wild nature. And then we'll come to all fours on the mat. Feeling a bit chilly here, but we'll get moving, and that will help me feel less chilly, I think. So we'll just, from your all fours, you just take some cat cows, allow the spine to find some flexion and extension, curving in, feeling the space between the shoulder blades, arcing up, letting the heart come forward, pressing the tail up. And then you just add whatever movement feels good to your cat cow. hip rolls, neck rolls. I definitely did something while sleeping that is not feeling great in my body this morning. But notice what's going on for you. Notice how your body is feeling. Maybe wag your tail. And then we'll just put our knees wide and come back into a child's pose, allowing the forehead to come down to the floor. We'll just take a moment here, rolling the forehead on the ground, rolling the hips, feeling the body. And then in our child's pose, we're gonna take both hands and just reach them wide for a moment and just feel the shoulders pressing down to the mat, the heart center pressing down to the mat. And then we'll take the right hand over to the left side of the mat, meeting the left hand there. And then just pushing into the left hand, you're going to feel the extension along the right side body, excuse me, from the hips to the hand, pressing in to the mat. You can even lean your hip into it a bit, like just lean into your right hip. And then we'll come back to center. Just reset for a moment by reaching both hands straight into the mat. And then bringing the left hand to the right side, really pressing into that right hand as you lean into your left hip, feeling the left side body from the hip to the outer edge of the left hand, pressing into the mat. Yeah, allowing yourself to make a sigh, a sound. And then we'll reset again, pressing in. And we'll come into a puppy dog pose from here. So what that is that you're going to come to your knees and your hips are going to be exactly over your knees. Your hands are going to reach out and you're really pointing your sit bones up into the sky, up into toward the ceiling as your head comes down and your heart center pushes toward the ground. You can tent up on your palms here, just pressing the finger pads into the mat if you like. Really reaching into those arms, pulling in the floating ribs. If you feel the floating ribs pulling out, splaying out, just bring them in. Notice how that changes the quality of the pose for you. You may find as you bring those ribs in that you feel slightly more extension in the spine. And then pushing yourself back to all fours. And we'll come to a downward facing dog from here. If downward dog is uncomfortable, either take a downward dog at the wall or just stay on your hands and knees and do cat-cow. So pressing into our feet, lifting our hips, and we'll just pedal our dog foot to foot, right, left. Really more to wake up the body than to really have an active, perfect pose here in stillness. We're really doing just more of a movement pose. And then bending both knees, looking to the top of the mat and walking to the top of the mat into your forward fold. Everyone meet in forward fold wherever you are. And blocks can be very useful here if you can't access the ground. Just allowing yourself to feel some support. Really taking a nice generous bend in the knees, allowing the torso to drape on the thighs. Allowing the hip flexors to relax. I've often noticed if you bring your focus to your hip flexors rather than your hamstrings and really soften the hip flexors, it has a deepening quality on the forward fold. And you don't even think about your hamstrings. So you just nod your head here, maybe shake your head.
And then just gently, we'll just roll up the vertebrae one by one to standing.
And here we're just gonna place our hands on our hips. Keep your feet about hip width wide, and we'll just take some circles with the hips to the right. Again, I think I have a bit of foggy hips this morning. We were talking about that earlier. So just some hip circles here feel quite good. And then hip circles to the left. Really just feeling into that quality. Oh. And then we'll just come to stillness here. And we'll come back to the top of the mat. If you left that. And reaching our arms overhead, come into a forward fold. From your forward fold, you can lift into a straight spine. Like blocks can be very good under the hands here. And then you're going to just step back to a plank position. And the feet will be straight out. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Plank is uncomfortable. Just bring your knees down. Just feeling your strength here. And then we'll just bend our knees and come down to the mat. And we'll come into Sphinx pose. So elbows will be underneath our shoulders, our palms are flat. And just allowing the support of the hands to lift the heart, letting the hip points drop into the mat, really feeling just a nice supported heart opener here with Sphinx. And you may notice what's going on in your head. And that could be mental and it could be physical. It could be both. Notice what's going on in your head. And let's come down to the mat. And our forehead can rest on our hands. And you can just reach out your right leg behind you, just lifting that up. And you can put that down. Reach out your left leg behind you. And put that down. And then hands come to either side of the chest. Reaching out your right leg and just looking over your right shoulder. And come down. Reaching out your left leg, looking over your left shoulder. Coming down. Now both legs will reach up and just doing different kind of practice. Pushing up to the knees and hands. And then we'll sit back on our heels here. And just find a quiet moment to check in. Connect to your heart, connect to your breath. And let's press back into downward facing dog when you're ready. From downward facing dog, just bending the knees and stepping to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come overhead. Hands come to prayer. Prayer comes to heart. Adjust your leg warmers if you need to. And then, yeah, I'm going to come here to the ground on the mat. Feel like because it's a little chilly, I want to sort of stay close to the ground. So let's take Baddha Konasana. The feet will meet together, the soles of the feet, and you're just going to hold the feet or the ankles and allow yourself to find a nice tall spine. And then you're just going to curl. You're not going to come down, but like curl into your spine like you were doing a cat. pose, but here seated. And then again, let's arch and round. And arch and round. Arch and round. I am going to find a straight spine again, sort of feeling yourself lift onto your sit bones. And if that's really hard, place a corner of a blanket underneath the sit bones. That will really help support the sit bones so that the pelvis the bowl of the pelvis falls off of the blanket, and that helps tilt the spine into a straight direction. And then just allowing the heart center to come forward. Your elbows can, this floor is, your elbows can just press gently into the knees. If your knees are really having trouble hitting the ground, it can really feel quite nice to just have some support under the knees, 2 blocks, and then just pressing into the knees as you press your heart center forward, really lifting from the tailbone all along the length of the spine. Feel that length of the back of the neck. And the point is really not going down, but really feeling the length as you move into a fold. Letting your knees be supported. And if you get to a point and you just want to curl the upper spine into your fold, allow yourself to do that. Let the spine find flexion where it is naturally inclined to. Going inside, allowing yourself to be internal. All the small decisions that we take, even during a movement practice, they all influence each other. There's an interconnection. And you may be feeling, as you're here in this folding shape, the interconnection of muscles in your neck with muscles in your hip, the interconnection of muscles along the spine. All those decisions affect each other. And then pressing into your feet with your hands, just slowly coming up, very slowly, maybe keeping the eyes closed. You can remove the blocks if they're there. And we'll come out to a wide-legged straddle. Just wherever is comfortable for you. And again, it can be very helpful here to sit on the edge of a blanket, letting the bowl of the pelvis tilt forward. And just do some torso rolls to the right, letting your whole spine enjoy the movement. And then some torso rolls to the left. Really feeling those hip points deeply grounded. And let's just bring our arms out to a T. And we'll just reach to the left. Just feeling the crease of the hip fold. Maybe pointing a heart upwards. And when you get to sort of the point where you feel like you're at your greatest extension, just let the foot hand fall wherever it falls. And bring that right arm up, directly overhead, as if you were pointing up to the ceiling, saying, look, that's the ceiling. Look, that's the ceiling. Just feeling for a moment the length from the right hip to the right hand and really activating that arm, finding energy and activation. And then when you feel you've found your greatest extension in the right side, just going to bring that right hand toward the left wall, but not so much as a sideways bend, but more as a directional pointing. I'm pointing to the ceiling. I'm still pointing to the ceiling. There, look at it. There it is. But I'm pointing to the left side. That's the left side of the ceiling. I think I've worn that one out. And again, you may feel the right side body around the hips, around the ribs. Find some more length here as we just let ourselves fold. And then we're going to slowly bring that up in degrees and increments if you like. Just be gentle. Notice now as your hands come down, how does the right side of your body feel? Is there more space? Is there more length? Even in the right forearm, does that somehow feel more open? And then we'll bring our hands out to a T again, our arms, and then we'll just begin to lean to the right. Again, really feeling the flexion in the hip more than anything else. And then when you get to your furthest extension on the right, just let your hand fall wherever it is. It doesn't have to be active. It doesn't have to grab anything. Just let it fall. And then you're going to draw this semicircle with your left arm until your left arm points exactly up, as if you were saying, look, it's the ceiling. And then let's just take a moment here, pointing just directly up. Really feeling that left side body, feeling as if you were reaching and you could almost grab a light bulb or something up there that you were changing. And then very subtle, very small movement. We're going to take that left hand and just point it as if you were pointing out the right side of the ceiling. Look, that's the area that needs some paint. It's not actually, but just really feeling that length again from the hip to the left hand. Noticing any increase of space, increase of openness on the left ribs. And then we'll just bring that up again. Very gently. And notice how that feels. Like, where do you notice? Do you feel like you're longer on both sides now? Do you feel longer in the sides of your ribs? Is there a reverberation or some kind of spinal signature that is manifesting in the hips? It's all interconnected, and as we move through these stretches and poses, even if they seem very small and subtle, they open different parts of our body in very slow ways, but all of it is interconnected. So you may feel like, I know we were doing a side stretch, but you may feel it in your hips more than anything else. You may feel your sacroiliac joint. It's interesting how small movements play out, which is why sometimes when we sleep at night, it can really be huge, just where a subtle body position can have a big effect on us the next day. So take your hands under your knees again, bring them up and in, and we're going to turn and come to our back. I'd really love it if you had a block, because we're going to do a very low supported bridge pose. If you don't have a block, what I would suggest actually is a couple of blankets instead, just stacked up, perhaps just like this, 2 blankets on top of each other. It's about the same sturdiness and length as a block. at this height. And this is what we're going to use as our support. So come to your back. And just for a moment here, just windshield wiper your knees. And then feet are on the ground, knees point up, and just press the feet into the ground, bringing the block on that low, low setting right underneath the sacrum. And just rest your sacrum down on the block again. And then just take a moment here before settling in and notice how it feels to just let the weight of the body fall into the block on this part of your body, on the sacrum, on the area just above your tailbone. And then you're going to take one leg out to straight, the second leg out to straight, allowing the feet to naturally fall open, letting gravity just hold the shoulder girdle, letting yourself really sink into that block and feeling the support underneath your sacrum. You may even feel the top of the thighs lengthening here. Ah. And the longer we stay in a restorative pose, and the more we allow the body to relax into this supported position, the more, again, you may notice very subtle releases, subtle things, or you may notice suddenly that you are gripping somewhere that you didn't realize, and then just gently let that go. Noticing what your relationship with your jaw is this morning. Noticing what your relationship with your smile is this morning. Trying to feel an upward turn in the corners of your mouth. Bringing to your heart awareness. A moment of joy in your recent experience. And it doesn't have to be like grand, just like pure contentment. Maybe you just really enjoyed being in a place recently with people that you love. Or maybe you had a really good, delicious dinner that you cooked. Or maybe you had a really beautiful time in the perfect space in the park or in nature. You found just this perfect place just for you, where you could sit and contemplate and feel at one with everything. Just connect to that moment of joy, that moment of peace, that moment of just surrendering to the harmony of experience, where you are supported and loved and at ease. We're going to bring our feet back to the ground. Pressing into both feet, you're going to take the block out just slowly. And then we'll take the right leg over the left leg and let the legs just fall to the left. Very gentle spinal twist. Looking out over our right arm. allowing the twist to work through the body gently, succumbing to gravity. Ah, let's all do that. Let's inhale and just sigh it out. Ah. Again, the image, the memory of contentment, and then bringing the knees back, pressing into the feet to reset the hips, bringing the left leg over the right, and letting the knees just fall to the right. And maybe extending your left arm and looking out over your left arm. Letting the hips relax, letting yourself relax. Ah, taking a nice sigh, closing the eyes, connecting to your recent moment of contentment. And then pressing into your hips. And we'll just take a moment in Shavasana, allowing everything to rest. Letting the legs splay out, ungripping anything that might be gripping in the body, closing the eyes, letting the head fall back, resting. Slightly finding some movement in the fingers, some movement in the toes. Letting movement awaken across the body. And when you're ready, just gently rolling to one side and making your way to a seat in your own time. If you want to stay in Shavasana, I highly encourage you to do that. Allow yourself to rest if you want to continue to rest. Otherwise, we'll find a seat together with our eyes closed. Finding some length in the spine. Bringing our hands back to our heart center, either Anjali Mudra, holding the heart, or letting the hands fall in the lap. Breathing in through the heart, breathing out through the heart. And we'll take an Om together, inhaling. Om. Thank you for sharing your time, your focus, your attention with me today. Thank you for sharing your practice and noticing together how the movement of our body, just small choices, small decisions, how it affects the whole, how even when we take just small movements, they play out in the wider physical experience and energetic field. I really am grateful that you chose to spend time with me today. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. I hope to see you here tomorrow. Take care. And look for those moments of joy and contentment. And if you think, I don't have that, go and find one. Go and find one.